Welcome to From Cover to Code, the Technology Book Club. Join us as we discuss artificial intelligence, DevOps, software development, cloud computing, and more. With your hosts, Angela Andrews and Michael Jenkins. The next episode of From Cover to Code starts now.
And we are live and in the building.
Hi.
How are you doing today, Angela?
I'm doing so good. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing good. I'm doing so much better now that we got into the studio and started chopping it up.
Yes,
and I'm just
better.
ready for this discussion. Yes, indeed.
I feel
I'm good.
We definitely, that was a decompression moment. And I do thank you for being an ear for your girl. So, and I feel good now.
That's excellent. Wonderful. Yeah, I guess we both had to just get all the work day off of our shoulders, off our chest, get as I said, our hearts and minds clear, come into the studio and just focus on this book, focus on the discussion, focus on everything that we got to cover today. And I'm ready now.
Me too. I'm ready too.
Yeah, indeed. And welcome to everybody that's joining us live in the studio.
Welcome.
Shout out to you on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. I don't know
wherever you are watching this.
Your podcast player. Yeah, thank you for joining us with this discussion. This is, oh my goodness, this is episode 3 of season 4, where we are discussing AWS Certified AI Practitioner AIF-C01 Study Guide by Tom Taulli. That's the book right there. Yes, indeed. And I will hold up my phone because I'm still rocking off the digital version.
We got to do.
We do. Man, I guess we could just jump right into the discussion.
Okay. Let's do it.
Mean, this episode we were scheduled to cover chapters 5 and 6. I mean, I like both of these chapters.
Me too.
Just out of the gate. I really, really enjoyed the presentation, the content, the exercises that the author had us walk through. And I got some notes. I don't have a lot of notes per se.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. What are your thoughts out of the gate?
I too enjoyed both of these chapters a lot. I had read them, before the last or session that we had to reschedule. So it wasn't, it kind of went out of my head. So I had taken time to go back through, but I did it with a different eye. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to take an exam based on this information, I need to start internalizing some of these services, some of these terms. The terminology, AI terminology, is so out of my wheelhouse. So I have my notes for these 2 chapters are different than my notes from the other chapters, only because I'm now approaching it with an eye for passing the exam. So it's a little bit more in depth. There's terms and definitions. I will say, if there was anywhere in the book where he mentioned something about exam, I think I may have put a star next to it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought to and didn't. Or maybe that's just another exercise I'm going through. But anyway, again, I'm coming at this having read it as a person who is planning to take the exam. So it's a little bit different than our regular conversations.
Yeah, no doubt. And I totally agree with you on the terminology and the service names and how they are applied. And honestly, my notes for chapter 5 is real world AI applications with AWS tools. And kind of like the overview for this chapter, pretty short chapter in the grand scheme, but he gave these use cases and the AWS AI service or tool that kind of tied to the use case. And I mean, I appreciated that for the breakdown because he introduced them in the previous chapter. The difficulty that I'm having, and actually, I mean, I'll give a spoiler alert. It revealed itself when I took the quiz for this particular chapter. Just knowing the names of the services and how they're used.
Yes.
Some of them are kind of like you can already know what they are. Amazon Textract
Very
it's a
much
play
so.
on extract, and they're automating the extraction, classification, and processing of data for business purposes. Okay, that's cool. Transcribe, translate, those are cool, but Lex, Poly, Kendra, I think is key to the whole get down. But what
That
does
girl-
Kendra mean?
And so, Kendra, girl, I really have to internalize that service because Kendra's a girl. Like, she's that girl, but she's not. She's an AWS service.
Right.
And her use is so, I don't want to say nebulous, but it is not, it requires more consideration. So I think we should go through all of the tools that were talked about in chapter 5. I think we should.
Yeah, and you're reading my mind. That was exactly my intent. I got ahead of myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first use case was computer vision, and the tool associated with that is Amazon Recognition.
With a K.
With a K. Yeah, I'm not mad at that because I use managed chaos for a lot of my stuff, my branding, and I use a K instead of a CH. So not mad at that. I appreciate the misspelling, for fun. Recognition allows computers to identify objects in images. And the example that he gave was you can label objects, concepts, and scenes, and you can find faces that are similar in pictures or looking up stuff.
And we've seen that on almost every spy catcher movie that we've watched in the past couple of years, where they're running this face through, some AI application and they're tracking down. There is a huge company in the US that is notorious for facial recognition.
Oh, wow.
We will not name them, but we'll talk about the movie. So can you remember the last movie where you saw someone's face come up and they were like, we got to find who this person is? They're always like a criminal, a terror. I will tell you mine. Mine was Idris Elba has a series out called Hijack.
I'm watching it.
Baby, the first season was hot to death. The second one, I will leave you to it. There was these people and they had to run their faces through. And so that, I think that's the last movie, but we see it all the time.
Yeah.
Where this computer vision is used to detect faces in crowds. And you see the little box following people around in an airport trying to, so that is a huge real world use case for Amazon Recognition. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I follow your sentiment. Same thing, movie, spies running around, zooming in. I just like a more recent use case that I could think of, and it's not Amazon, but it's the application of like facial recognition is in my Google Photos app. I take pictures of family or whatever, and I have a automatic album. Just like, okay, tap this person's face, and any picture that I take is automatically moved into this album. It would take me forever, like to sort through all these pictures or whatever and sort pictures by person. It does it automatically for me. And I know they're using facial recognition.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's some AI built into it.
Kudos for Google for having that. Kudos. What about the Super Bowl ad for the Ring camera?
I missed it. I was focusing on the Jurassic Park movie, but bring me up to speed on the Ring.
So during the Super Bowl, there was this Ring commercial where they were talking about, someone lost their dog. So immediately it's an emotional pull. If you're a dog owner, honey, you would, go heaven and high water to find your dog. So what they did was the Ring cameras would all form this network to see if they could identify this missing dog. Right. And I was like, oh, so y'all flock now, y'all police state, right? Honey, I was watching the Super Bowl and I was like, oh, this is a bad idea. And I was like, I think that's kind of cool. No. And I started telling them why I thought this was a terrible idea. Honey, the next morning, the next minute, social media was like, So they backed out of it. They were like,
no,
no,
I
we're
didn't.
not going to do this. Right.
Yeah, I
So
thought it was sidewalk mode or something. I forget what they call it.
I forget what it was called, but it was not a good idea to turn everybody's home security camera into what it could be, because it could be a subpoena could come along and it would turn into something else immediately. So anyway,
we got a couple other movies from Sterling. He lets us know about Minority Report and iRobot. Those are some other good ones where they use that facial recognition technology. But moving on, because we can sit here and yap all day. Right?
So I don't have. I'm sure there's no more services. Well, I will have that type of visceral reaction to what they do. I promise.
So noted. So noted. The next one is natural language processing, or NLP.
Yes.
And that's allowing computers to understand and communicate with human language. And I think this is like kind of key to a lot of the ways that we use AI today. And I mean, sort of paralleling that, there are a lot of services in this space. So I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of go down each one. Amazon Comprehend extracts data from documents. Amazon Kendra, who we talked about earlier, uses natural language for searching and retrieving data, and also uses RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, to improve results. Amazon Lex, you can use that to build AI-powered chatbots. Amazon Poly converts text into human-like speech. Amazon Transcribe goes the other way and converts audio into text. Amazon Translate translates documents from one language to another in batches or in real time. And that was the last one. I had some other notes, but so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 services or tools in the natural language processing space.
Yes. So personally, I've used Poly. I heard about it many years ago. That's probably one of the first like AI services. Because it's been out at least since the time I got my first AWS certification, right? That's how long it's been to me. And that was years ago. So I used it because I'm different modalities in learning. I would record myself reading through my notes and then just play it while I'm driving or walking around. So it wouldn't be my voice, of course. The text to speech. I would take my notes and then it would be spoken back to me in my car or in my headphones. So love that. And then Transcribe. Well, we all know a good transcription of a meeting is gold, is actual gold. So those are two services that I absolutely love.
Sure. Yeah. I've used Amazon Lex to build a chatbot years ago. I can't remember how long now it's been, but maybe it was more machine learning than like true AI. But me and some other folks in Blacks in Technology, we were in a hackathon where we had to build some sort of chat-based technology. And we built and my wife clowns me on this to this day, but we built a recipe converter or whatever. A recipe bot or whatever. You talk to the bot and say, hey, I want to make a hamburger. And on the back end, the API would go into all these different recipe providers or whatever, and it would find the recipe. And then the chatbot would say, how many people are you cooking for? And you say, oh, I want to cook for 5 people. And then it would automatically scale up or scale down the recipe to match the number of servings that you needed to make. So that was kind of like the logic on the back end of the chatbot. We had fun making it. I've seen some other cooler implementations of chatbots in that particular hackathon, and that's what I get clowned on. But hey, the recipe bot was good. I would 5 stars all the way.
Okay.
Comprehend, Kendra, I haven't used. Translate, I haven't used, but I'm really excited or eager just to get in and start messing with some of these services.
Okay.
Next one, intelligent document processing, or IDP. And that is where you can automate the extraction, classification, and processing of data for business purposes. And the tool in this space is Amazon Textstract. Not familiar with it, haven't used it, but yeah, it'll be fun to play around with. And the last one is fraud detection, detecting fraudulent online activities. And the very aptly named service is Amazon Fraud Detector. So that's, yeah, they really got creative with that one, didn't they?
I like it.
Oh, yeah. At least you know what it does. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no question.
It's really called Amazon Fraud Detector.
That's the name of the service. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Well, you think about it, like anomaly detection is huge. Like to see the outliers in the data. I'm sure anyone who's listening, they may have gotten a text or an email about you buying something from a site you've never used. It's in the middle of the night and they're like, is this fraudulent? Is this you? And they'll block your credit card because it looks so highly irregular. So yeah, that happened to me pretty recently. I was probably shopping at a weird time of night and I just used a different credit card, but that's what it was anomalous based on my regular shopping habits. So definitely, definitely that's a good one. That probably gets people out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, sure. And it's cool that, and I think the bottom line or the basis for all of these services is that they're already on Amazon. So you can build your application that's hosted, running on Amazon, and just tap into it. You don't have to do anything extra to manage your own infrastructure, run your own services or whatever, to use all these capabilities for computer vision, language processing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll just fast forward a little bit to the summary. And the author said, know when to use AI, basically, because some software solutions may be more efficient, they may be less costly, they may be less complex. And I'm sure like that just kind of speaks to what it takes to use these services in your application. You still got to connect it. You got to move the data. You got to have, permissions in place so that all the services can access what they need to access. But you could maybe just have a script or a Lambda function that just kind of does the thing, and I wonder if that is also an important part of the exam, to know when and when not to apply AI for some sort of scenario-based question.
If I had to posit a guess, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they're going to be like AI. Every company you see on every article, every post on wherever, they are pushing this AI agenda. And logically, you should know when to use a tool, right? Not everything needs a hammer. And you just said it. It could be something as simple as, text or Lambda or some other script that does something and in, much more efficiently and cheaper, right? Without all of the AI overhead. So will it, I bet that part won't be on the exam. I don't think AWS would be having us take an exam to say, yeah, don't use our services for that one. Nah, you can use a Lambda, like, or something like that. But it is good to know when it fits, because not every tool, not every problem needs a hammer. Not every nail needs a hammer.
Very true. Very true. Good segue then to chapter 6.
No, back up.
Oh, back up. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wait, the quiz? Like, what are you doing here?
Yes. Well, I bundled them together. We can do them. No, we could do chapter 5.
Okay.
And then we'll come. I got 2 questions for each chapter.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can go ahead and do chapter 5 now, since it's fresh on our minds.
Yes, please do.
That makes sense. Okay. For all of you that are listening, I'm showing the chapter 5 and 6 quiz header. Let me get this banner out of the way as well. And we'll just go through the first questions for chapter 5. I will read them as we proceed. Okay. This is question 1 from chapter 5. Oh, and I won't spoil. I'll just put a pin in some comments that I have for this quiz. What is the difference between intelligent document processing and natural language processing, or IDP and NLP? NLP is only used for chatbots, while IDP is used for all text-based applications. NLP is a subset of IDP. IDP automates data extraction for business documents, while NLP is for broader text processing tasks.
Mhm.
Or D, NLP is only for NLP is only for handwritten language, while IDP is for printed language.
Okay.
Okay, we
All
got to
right.
put our exam taking hat on and get
Yes,
rid of
indeed.
these distractors.
So I would like to get rid of B,
Okay.
about NLP being a subset of intelligent document processing. That's not even
Yeah.
a distractor. That's a terrible
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a
that's pretty
terrible
bad. They're
answer
two
choice.
very separate things.
Yes. NLP for chatbots. I think A is definitely a
Yeah, you could probably
no.
get rid of that one because we know that NLP can be used for a lot
A
of other
myriad
things.
of things.
Yeah,
Yes, we just talked about them.
just
Yeah.
talked about all the services and the different ways that they're used. So that leaves C and D.
This one's
I,
pretty easy.
yeah, I think saying it's only for handwritten language.
Yeah, strong language.
Yeah,
Only
handwritten, not so much. That's I would almost say that's the recognition service. Well, no, there's something else that's they use for optical character recognition. I can't even think of what it is at the moment.
OCR.
Yeah,
Is there
OCR.
is there an OCR service in
One of these tools does OCR stuff, but it's not. No, I think the IDP can do
okay.
OCR. I have to go back to to the book. I don't have anything in my notes about that.
Okay,
But OCR is for everything. It's not just for handwritten stuff. So
that's true.
based on that, I would get rid of D, which leaves us with
C.
option C. All right, let's see what we got. Yes,
Good
the
stuff.
correct answer is C. IDP automates data extraction for business documents, while NLP is for broader text processing tasks.
And more.
Cool. Yeah, and much more. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool.
All right, next question. This is from chapter 5, question 4.
Okay.
What is the core AI capability in our girl Amazon Kendra? A, it retrieves data from a quantum database. B, it uses linear regression analysis. C, it uses retrieval augmented generation, also known as RAG, to improve search accuracy. Or D, it uses keyword matching. Before we go through our analysis, if you're joining us live, you could put your answer in there. I apologize if I didn't catch your answer earlier, but yeah, take this quiz along with us. Yeah, and I'll drop it into the chat. And Tech Coach Ralph is joining us. He's saying this is when we prepared for the test and the teacher tried to push it back. Yeah, you got to be ready. Don't you hate it when they change the dates on you? Like, no, I'm ready today.
I got to get it out. I got to get it
this
out.
Exam today. Okay, so we're talking about our girl Amazon Kendra.
Hey,
we
girl.
could probably get rid of a couple easy ones here.
Where in the chapter did you see the word quantum anywhere?
Never saw a quantum database anywhere.
So no, we're going to have to get rid of A. That's not a good one.
Get rid of A.
That's not a core capability in Kendra.
Yeah.
B, it uses linear regression analysis.
I'm trying to think if like the machine learning analysis, they talked about linear regression or something, but nothing specifically about these services.
Yeah.
Did the author mention linear regression analysis? So I'm going to get rid of that one.
Yes, good idea.
Which again leaves us with C and D. I'm going to drop down to D really quick because keyword matching sounds like a very basic, almost deterministic. Exactly. Like you could write a software program that doesn't use AI to do keyword matching. So
let's get rid of it.
Get rid of D, which leaves us with C. It uses retrieval augmented generation to improve search accuracy. Let's see how we did on this one. And we are correct.
And you mentioned it in just a few moments ago.
Yeah, we definitely went and chopped it up about our girl Kendra.
Yep.
The one comment that I wanted to make about this quiz, there was a question about I forget what the question said, but I confused transcribe with translate. So I got the question wrong.
That is
Yes.
so easy to do.
Yeah. And so I probably was rushing through, didn't know, or, didn't read for context or whatever. I was like, oh, this is the answer. Transcribe, when the correct answer was actually translate. And I was like,
Gotcha.
how did I miss that? But those
We're
are the
going too
things you got to watch
fast.
out for. Exactly. Take your time, slow down, understand the question, understand the answers, and then pick the right one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that we tackled those questions while they were fresh in our minds.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I might have got that Kendra question wrong. I don't know.
Well, I got that one wrong at the end of the chapter. That was the one I got wrong in
man.
chapter 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, fair.
I'm glad we got to address it again.
Yes,
Now
and that's why we got these reviews. We got to dial it in.
All right. Next one is my new friend.
Okay.
Q. Hi, Q. We've been doing some things together lately, and yeah. So I always have a story. I'm not sure why, but I always have a story. So I have this study group, and we're currently studying for the Solution Architect Pro AWS exam. Great people, right? And we were talking about so if you're in AWS, there's probably 3 endpoints that you're very familiar with. It's the interface endpoint, it's the gateway load balancer endpoint, which is fairly new, and then it's the interface endpoint. You know these things, right? Why are there 2 more? Never knew. So Q, I was like, Q, give me what's what. Tell me about these, give me all the endpoints. Tell me about these new ones. And Q was like, girl, I got you. And he was just like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and we're all sitting there watching my screen going, I did not know that. So, so anyway, Q we've been rocking it for the rough since last year, but this year definitely. Okay. So if you've never used Amazon Q and you work in AWS in any way, you're coding, right? Look more into it. That's all I'm going to say. Told you I have a story for everything.
Yeah, no doubt. No, that's good. That keeps it live. Yeah, because my comments out of the gate were just this chapter was thick. It had a lot of terminology. To catch up with. Again, I was just trying to take notes on everything. And it was it was a lot to digest. But circling back to Q, Tech Coach Ralph says, I tried out Amazon Q around the first week it came out back in November 2023. It was a bit limited being I was a bit limited being I didn't have an organization, but it's powerful. Yeah, awesome. It has the business version and the developer version. I guess with the business version, maybe you tie it into an organization, you can get other capabilities out of it. But using it with your development, to your point, it knows everything about AWS. So it's going to be able to answer those questions for you
in your environment. So one more story. I gotta say it.
Okay.
I'm troubleshooting something in AWS, and me and this guy were on the line, and we're trying everything. It tells us, and Q is like, I need you to do this, this, this. Okay. Q got sick of us and was like, look, I'm gonna go ahead and open up a support ticket because this ain't working. It automatically opened up a support ticket.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? Now I did not know that was part of its functionality. So I learned that this month, last month. It was in January. That was amazing to like have this back and forth, and you're making all these changes and that's not right. It's not working. For it to say, open up a ticket, like
that is cool.
That was really cool. So, okay, no more story. I'm going to refrain. I'm going to try to refrain from any more stories until we get through the rest of the chapter.
No, that's fine. Keep them coming. Because honestly, for the sake of our listeners, we haven't even really defined what Amazon Bedrock and Amazon Q are.
And I think we should
jump right into the discussion. Amazon Bedrock is basically AWS's AI model environment where you can access and manage the models that you're using for your applications. And Amazon Q, which kind of came up towards the end of the chapter, is a generative AI virtual assistant for business built on top of Amazon Bedrock. So those two services kind of work hand in hand. With Bedrock being in place, Q comes along and says, hey, these are the models that I'm going to use to do what I got to do. There was, well, I mean, the author, I don't know how relevant this is to the exam, but he kind of gave some background on Bedrock and what it was designed to help customers with. Find and use foundation models, integrate foundation models into applications, keeping costs low. But I thought that these were important. Customizing and using foundation models with the customer's own data and keeping that data private and secure, and preventing the data from being used for training purposes.
Yes, that's huge.
Hard to do. It's tremendous, because I say you can't do that, but it's difficult to do if you're using a publicly available model through another service. You got to make sure you got all the proper check boxes ticked and the options selected to say, hey, don't use my data for training, or keep this data private, whatever, because the model developers, they want your data. They want to be able to improve. Yeah, exactly. So
hello, Google.
No doubt.
Hey, Gmail.
Exactly. Yeah. So with Bedrock, you're keeping everything in house. It's like it's your own little Gemini. It's your own little Claude. So that's really, really important.
Yes, I agree. So we set the stage for what those two services are, and this chapter goes into a really great getting started, and the examples in here to allow you to go in to your test account. Don't do this at work, because we don't. What if you're not using AI and now they see all these AI services pop up on a bill? But did you get an opportunity to do the examples?
I did. And actually, I thought I had something I got a couple things to share.
Good.
I could, I want to go through the model catalog. So I think that was relevant to the quiz, probably the exam. And man, there's so many other parts of the model catalog that are, that I could comment on, something that I'm definitely going to have to review, but I'll run through them right quick. Okay. I wanted to, I'm all over the map right now. I wanted to go just walk through the model catalog live, just to kind of, I got a tab to share. But before we go there, the model catalog lets you view foundation models available on Bedrock. And it lists the model provider, the company that created the model, and it also shows the modality for each model. That means the input and outputs used by the model, which can include audio, image, text, vision, video, or a model may even be multimodal, which means it uses any one or two or all of these particular types of inputs. So with all that said,
one more thing, the model provider will tell you the modality. Some of these are embedded models, so you can use where you can create vectors for using generative AI. So that comes up later in the chapter, where maybe it was it in the last chapter where they talked about how you can use embedding models to help train you're using two separate models to help train. So that also, I think some of these models may tell you if they're embedded models as well.
And I believe you can also, I'm logged into the model catalog now, and you can see that they have, dozens of providers here, from Amazon, Anthropic, DeepSeek is there, Google, Meta,
10 more.
And 10 more.
Let's see what they all are.
NVIDIA, OpenAI, Quinn, Stability AI, 12 Labs. I haven't heard of 12 Labs. I thought it was 11 Labs, but maybe 12 Labs is just one better than 11 Labs.
Upgrade.
I don't know. Yeah, right. Writer and ZAI, all these different input they have the model sorted by input modalities, output modalities, and then some other built-in tools available. But it's a pretty cool interface. You can find your model. I'll search for Meta. Let's search for providers Meta and I got 12 matches here for all the llama models that Meta puts out.
Llama red pajama.
Yeah, we can. Well, there you go. Get that one out of there. I'm going to go to Anthropic, look at some of these Claude models. And so, I mean, yeah, this is the interface that you can use to view the models. And then if you select the model, what I appreciate about this interface is you can open it in a playground. And
Yes.
in the playground, this is like you're connected to the model and it's on demand. Like I didn't have to, I'm already logged into my AWS account, but I didn't have to log into anything else. I didn't have to set up an account with Anthropic. I could do the same thing with Llama, with
Mhm.
OpenAI, or et cetera, et cetera. And I have access to the model right here in my account.
That
And
is
then I can
so
give it,
huge. That is so
I
huge.
can give it a prompt. The other cool thing I like about it is this compare mode over here on the
Yes.
side. Man, let me tell you, you can pick
Yes.
another
Pick
model.
another one, a different vendor.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
with Gemma 312-bit.
Hey, Gemma.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Um, when you add the second model, it gives you an opportunity to change some of the parameters, and
And
maybe
you
that's a good
can
segue to talk about
compare.
some of these
Yes,
parameters.
we have to talk about
Um,
we gotta
yeah,
talk
'cause
about some of these because
that's really key to
yes.
everything. But once you have all that there, you can enter a prompt, and it will send the same prompt to both models. That way, you can compare the results, and it just can help you evaluate these models before you apply them in your application or however you want to use them. So I'm gonna throw it to you, Angela. What prompt do you want me to run through
Hmm,
these two models? Claude Sonnet 4.6 and Gemma 312B IT V1.
interesting. I would like to find out about hmm, what would be my question? Oh, this is probably a cheat code for AWS, for a model running on AWS, but my question
Hmm.
would be, explain to me what a AWS prefix list is for and provide me with 3 use cases. That was someone's question last night in the study
Hmm.
group. We
Okay.
didn't Google it. Well, probably in advance of, but yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Let's see
So
what it says.
we're getting the prompt here. It's
All
taking
right,
some
they're both
time. It's
churning.
thinking.
They're
Yep.
both
Okay.
thinking.
Claude was the first to respond.
Okay,
Gemma came back.
very good.
Um,
So, before we dig into the prompt, what are the numbers at the top? Because they matter.
yes,
Okay.
they do. And I don't. Let's see. Let me copy.
Hover.
No, that's it. Okay,
There you go. There you
latency
go.
is the amount of time the foundation model used to generate each token in a sequence.
That's
And then
huge.
we have the number of output tokens.
Mhm.
And then we have the number of input tokens. Input token is going to be about the same for both because that's like from our prompt. But it looks like Gemma picked up a token somewhere along the
Along the
way.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Claude came back with 466 output tokens. Gemma was a little bit, but almost,
Verbose?
yeah, 3 times more verbose
Okay.
um,
Well, okay, now
with
let's
the
look.
output tokens. Yeah,
And it took a little while longer. We saw that as
it
it
did.
churned.
Yeah, yeah. Claude
Okay.
responded before Gemma did. But I think the real breakdown here, the real evaluation is based on your experience and your knowledge, which of these
Right.
prompts is correct and most helpful or useful for the question that you asked.
Let's see.
Um, I'll scroll here a little bit more.
There are two
Okay,
types.
we've got
Okay.
use cases. I do like the formatting for the Claude Sonnet side
Okay. How they work.
with these
Okay.
headers.
Use cases. Okay.
There's more use cases here. Get some
Oh,
benefits
okay. I
for Claude
like. I
Sonnet.
like.
Yeah. We get some implementation steps over here from Gemma. That was kind
That's
of
a
cool.
nice bonus. That's a nice bonus.
Yeah.
Usually when you're asking, you're curious about the how. I think so. I
Yeah.
think that's a good addition. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why there were so many output tokens because it's
Yeah. It
giving us
could be.
a lot of information. Where to find it tells you the main place to find them is in full J. Okay.
Also gave you the
I like that.
CLI command to run.
I
Okay.
like that. And it shows you
That's pretty
also
cool.
in the console. So if you're going to
Yeah.
give me any response back, give me both. Let me decide. Let me
Yeah.
decide how I want to dig into it. I do like that though. Is
Okay.
that one over? Is that the end of it? To keep the benefits at the bottom?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's the end of it. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I like the Claude response for the formatting,
Yes,
for the use cases and the benefits. I like the Gemma response for the implementation.
I
Both of
like
them
that.
gave the definition. They're going to let you know what it is. Gemma says, hey, if you want to use it, hey, this is how you list it. This is how you find it in the console, you know. So maybe the Gemma was a little bit more helpful for actually doing it. And maybe
Because
Claude was a little bit more helpful for knowing.
right, to give you that knowledge. You just asked a question.
Mm,
I'm just answering your question. Gemma
yeah.
took it one step further and helped you with implementation, which is not a bad thing because for some of us, now we're going to go back to Claude and we're going to ask them a follow up to
Yeah.
maybe
Follow
get
up.
those implementation
Yeah.
details. So neither is bad. Um, you have to, you're going to pay for that extra. You see that
Yeah.
it did have more output tokens. It took a little bit longer probably to figure out what it was doing. I think they're very great responses, but if I were deciding, you would have to take all of that into consideration, and of course you'd have to do it multiple times to
Mhm.
see what those responses are, and you'd have to weigh them against what your use case is, like what kind of responses are you asking for. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool, though. I like that you
Okay.
showed that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely wanted to get in, to the console and start hacking around with some of these models.
Yes.
And that's also important, I think. And I'll see if I can do a little bit of both things here. Because the more hands-on you get, the more familiar you get with these terms and capabilities of the actual tools and services. So the other thing that the author went into was the model configurations. So let me see
Yes.
if I can get to a point where we're
Love
looking
that.
at the model configurations. I'm just going to open up Mistral 3 large. And right next to the Mistral 3 large name, there's this little like slider things where you
Mhm.
can open the configuration. And let me see if I can make this as big as I possibly can so we can see everything.
Okay.
The first thing in the model configuration, it is the system prompt. I'm going to put a pin in that probably until the next episode, because I
Okay.
know in the next couple chapters, he really goes into prompt engineering. So
Yeah, boy.
we're not going to talk about system prompts yet. We're going to save that to the next time. But in this chapter, he does talk about these other configuration
Mhm.
parameters, the length, um, randomness and diversity, and guardrails. And we can
All
kind of,
these terms,
yeah, you
so
got to know them.
important.
Maximum output tokens. We talked about how in these responses, it took, I forget which
Gemma.
one. Yeah, Gemma gave us more stuff, but we can control it with this little slider here to say, hey,
Mhm.
don't give me so much stuff. Like this is your limit. So if we had that set to, I think Gemma might have gave us, no, that was the time. It was 1,300, we'll say, and the other one, Claude, was like 400 and something.
Yeah.
And we could say, hey, don't give me more than 1,000, you know. And so Claude's cool. Gemma's like, oh, hey, I got to slow my roll a little bit, and do something, a little bit different to,
Take it down a notch.
yeah, make it a little bit more succinct. Um, the stop sequences that controls when a foundation model will stop generating a response based on a word, phrase, or
Mhm.
punctuation mark. And that also helps control the content and the length of the
Yes.
response. So that's kind of your knobs for links there. And these next two or next set of,
3. Go. You gotta
yes,
scroll, babe.
I got to scroll down so that we can see all
Wait.
the, oh, they're missing one.
Wait a
The one
minute.
there's,
So you know that there are 2 of those,
yes,
text
top
boxes that
numbers.
should not be used together
Yes.
because and I can't remember which one it is. Can you
Well, I will say think about that for a second, because I know there's a quiz. That's one of the quiz questions.
Okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
I
And
knew I saw it. I knew I experienced it, so I had to kind of dig into. So
yeah.
temperature is for creativity, right? Is
Yes.
that the phrase that we're going to use?
Yeah, yeah, randomness, yeah, and
Random, right?
but yeah, to your point, every time they talked about temperature, they mentioned creativity. And
Yes.
so you're going to get, the higher the temperature, the more creative you're allowing the model to be. It's going to go, wild and kind of crazy and maybe not as logical. And if you lower that, it's going to be more fact-based. It's going to be, stick
Yes.
to the whatever it's been trained on.
And the range is only 0 to 1. So
Yeah.
anywhere along that scale is where you're
Yeah.
going to get how random or creative it is, or how succinct and fact-based it is. So depending on what you need from your model, you can tweak it that way. Okay. And this one, the next one, top P.
Yeah, same thing for top P. And the official name of top P is the nucleus sampling, or top probability sampling. So keep that in your mind.
Was that in the book?
It was in the book.
Oh, I skipped that.
If it wasn't, I looked it up. But
okay,
I'm gonna say
I
I copied it out of the book.
Okay, that's fine.
But it says this is used to control how the model selects the next word in its response based on some probability threshold. And I think the example that the author gave was the dog wagged its, as a human, we're going to say tail, but maybe this model says, okay, I'm working with a dog. A dog has a tail, it has ears, it has paws, it has a snout. And so based on the percentage or the probability of one of these words coming up in the next sentence, depending on how you set this, it's either going to say tail, which is the most probabilistic answer. But if you say, no, you can go crazy with this, then maybe that dog is wagging its snout instead of its tail. So that's an example of that creativity or that randomness that you can get by tweaking some of these parameters.
So top P controls how much total probability the model considers when choosing its next word.
Yeah.
So low is the model chooses from very highly probable words. And then if you go high, means it's going to consider a wider range of likely words, much more diverse.
Yeah, so keep those in mind, your temperature, your top P. The one thing that the author mentioned in the book that I don't see here on this particular interface is top K, which is the number of word choices the model will consider. And it's basically the vocabulary. And in my notes, I put these ranges. Like you mentioned here, temperature can go from 0 to 1, top P goes from 0 to 1. Top K goes from 1 to however many words the model knows about. So this could be, infinite,
very verbose,
almost, right?
Very. What's the other word I'm looking for when you have a lot of words?
Yeah, it's like you got just a big hopper of words to choose from, and you can pick any word. But typically, in some other research I checked out, is 10 to 100.
Loquacious, that's the word.
Loquacious.
You mess around with that top P, you might get more than you bargained for.
Yes, indeed. But that's another one where it can be, you can allow the model to be more diverse, more creative, because it has more words to choose from. It's like, I'm going to be, straight and narrow, or I'm just going to go crazy and pick from all these other words that I can choose from.
Cool.
And the last one on here, I guess we don't see stop sequences, but we talked about that, or maybe no, that might have been in another spot, but guardrails.
Yes.
And this is cool. This is kind of when you can get into moderating your model, not letting it go too crazy, by setting up these guardrails to say, hey, don't, talk about this. Don't give sensitive information. Or watch for sensitive information. Don't let people give you their social security numbers. Don't process it or whatever. Yeah.
Click on the down box. Let's see what we got in here.
Well, I don't have any defined.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You have to go and manage them and select.
Yeah, you have to actually create the guardrails before you can let your model mess around with them.
Very good.
But yeah, so get familiar with the Amazon Bedrock interface if you're thinking about taking this exam, because hey, as a practitioner, you need to know how to get in here.
Yes.
And do some stuff, because what if somebody comes along and says, hey, I need you to deploy Claude Sonnet 4.6 with a temperature of 0.5 and a top P of 0.3. You should know how to do it, right?
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I love that.
Leave it alone at that.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
What else is in here?
Yeah, I got a couple more notes. But I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to be quiet and
no, you're fine. Let's see. It also did well, you showed the compare, which I love. They also had a image video playground, which I love.
Mm,
Negative prompts. I hope they only gave us a blurb in this
mhm,
chapter, but hopefully it'll go more in depth in the next chapter. And that's has to do with prompt engineering.
mhm.
When you know what you want, but you also know what you don't want.
Yeah,
So that's a huge prompt engineering is huge. Being able
yeah,
to come up with a prompt that gives you the type of information that you're looking for in the format that you're looking for it. And this chapter does give you does it give you a few? No, it doesn't. It just talks about the negative prompting. But yeah, I'm very excited. I don't want to foreshadow too much, but
mm,
I'm looking forward to that next chapter. This
yeah,
chapter also talks about there's a one more value, and it mentions it in the image video playground section, and
yep,
it's something called seed.
yes.
So I'm curious. They mentioned it in the image section, but is could that be a value that's found in other models that you can tweak?
Hmm.
We'll find out. We'll find
Yeah,
out.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I had those too because to your point, there were these configuration parameters that don't necessarily apply to text-based models. They apply to the multimodal
Got
models or the image or video models, and they're negative prompt, which you mentioned. Another one was prompt strength, which is indicates how the generated image will adhere to the prompt, and then
Oh,
also the
okay.
seed, which is the starting value used to set the initial state. So
So these are
yeah,
image video specific
yeah,
parameters. Okay. I'll
yeah,
have to make a
yeah,
note of that
indeed.
because I just kind of dumped them all in one page. Okay. I have to
Okay.
differentiate that then. All right. What else do we have here? We
Um,
have FM response analysis. That's kind of what you just did.
yeah.
I'm going through the pages while
Okay,
we're sitting
sure,
here.
cool.
I guess the main thing, if you're using this, how do you measure success for your model choices and your how do you do that? Well, every first you need a use case, and
Mhm,
the powers that be need to come up with what are their goals for this having AI in this service, right? What are our use cases? And they have to come up with metrics. How do we determine if we are getting what we expect to get? And they give a bunch of examples here for marketing metrics. Those seem like really easy ones to dissect. User satisfaction, right? They go into that a
mm,
little bit. There's a couple of marketing terms in here. Satisfaction based on a scale,
mhm,
average revenue per user. So depending if it's a sales site and you're trying to keep track of the amount of money that your customers spend, how you use your AI may influence that in some way. And then of course the conversion rate if they actually stay and do the thing. So yeah,
yeah,
that's what
I
happens when you
I
just go through the pages. You
yeah.
just
No, and I did have notes for those, and I will say when I started reading the section, I thought I had missed something at first. I was like, "Why are we talking about measuring success?" But I appreciate he introduced these concepts
Mhm.
because I think a lot of people, hey, me included, as a technologist, I'm not necessarily thinking about the business goal and success of the thing that
Mm-mm.
I'm implementing. Somebody says, "Hey, put AI on it." Guess what? I'm slapping AI on it. I'm using infrastructure as code. Everything's automated. CI/CD. It's beautiful, and it's gonna. I'm gonna press a button, and your thing is deployed, right? But then if somebody comes back, well, hey, how much did you spend on that? How much? How are the users interacting with it? What's the benefit of actually having all this automation in place, whatever? So I think it's important for us as practitioners and as architects, as engineers that implement the thing, to understand the business goal behind what we're doing. So I
Gotcha.
appreciated that he introduced this, and gave us some ways that we can kind of just keep in our mind, say, hey, check out the efficiency, look at the conversion rate, that type of thing. And maybe you have to work with marketing or, business development or somebody to get those numbers or to set those metrics up, but at least you can speak that language with them to know, what they're talking about. The last thing, last couple things, I guess, that I want to mention were model customization. We talked about distillation, which is kind of cool. It's like using two models, one model that might be more expensive or more detailed, and it's called the teacher, and it kind of shares information with the smaller, faster, cheaper model, which is the student, just to kind of get a little bit more efficiency out of it. And he also talked about fine tuning, which is tweaking all those parameters and even more parameters, hyper parameters, so that the model is literally tuned to the task that you want to give it. So you're sharing the data, labeled data in advance, tweaking those parameters, tweaking your hyper parameters, and just like dialing in the efficiency, use case, optimization, et cetera, for the model that you choose. So I thought that was kind of cool to know about.
Very good. I agree. That was the model customization. It went into, yes. I'm just following along. Cool. One section, continued pre-training. That was also in that section.
Yeah.
So that's where it uses large volumes. Again, we're in the model customization section of the chapter. And it says here, continued pre-training, which is a whole section. It uses large volumes of raw text or unlabeled data to help the model improve its understanding of language and context. Is useful for adapting the model to a specific domain or industry. So if you have all of this domain specific unlabeled data, you can probably, they say here, labeled data, very hard to get, unlabeled data, a plethora. And if you have to help adapt your model to be domain specific, you'd probably pull out, if it was medical jargon or whatever, you'd pull out all of these treaties or whatever, legal treaties or medical papers or whatever, and you'd use those to help do the continued pre-training before you get to the next part, because you're always going to be training your model and to tune it as more information becomes available. So next section.
Agents, I think, was the next section. He had, and I only got like one little bullet point there, just kind of defining an agent, which is a AI powered system that automates a complex multi-step business. I put taste. I don't know why I put taste in my notes. Probably a mistype. But it orchestrates interactions between foundation models, APIs, which is access to these external systems or services, and data sources. So your agent is tapping into all these AI capabilities and all the other stuff that we would access manually, but the agent is doing it on our behalf. So that's kind of cool. We're seeing that a lot with like the MCP, the model context protocol stuff that's coming up for people doing things on their command line, in their browsers, in their editors, and just about everywhere else at this point. So
definitely
that's where the agents come into play.
Hot girl topic right there. And then of course, depending on what you're doing, there's the multi-agent collaboration where you have multiple agents working collaboratively to solve problems. So it is definitely becoming the norm, and you're going to hear more and more about it as time goes on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And then the author went into Amazon Q. We kind of covered Q at the beginning of this particular chapter.
I couldn't wait
because we were so excited about it. We did have one comment from Sterling, who's joining us live. He said, "I very seldom use Amazon Q at work. Not sure why I just overlooked this service. However, I will give Q more time now." So good. If you have access to it, I don't see why not. It's a capability. Tap into it. Start using that.
Indeed. I mean, what I have to say, like, Tech Coach Ralph, he's cutting edge. He was using it back in 2023, when it was in its infancy. And I only used it last year for the first time. So, we're so used to doing things how we figure things out and things like that. I did not incorporate that into my workflow. And because think about it, what would you do in lieu of? Well, you'd be using Claude or Chat GPT or so, you know what I mean? So we're replacing one tool, AI tool, for another. So I think it's really cool. So let
Mhm.
me know how you like it, Sterling. I want to know what good things and what cool things you come up with. If it's
Yeah, no
logging
doubt.
tickets for you, that was clutch. I am
Yeah,
intrigued. Okay, show me more.
that is bananas. When the AI is like, you know what? I've done all I can do.
I'm done,
I'm gonna put a ticket, and
girl.
then we're gonna get
Open
some
it.
coffee.
That was
That
cute.
is
That was cute.
crazy. Yeah. Okay. So we do have a quiz
Oh,
for chapter
yes. Let me get
6.
my
I got
answers out.
two questions.
Ooh,
Um, I got 100% on this one. I'm just gonna say. So
honey, I got
I
two
already know
wrong
I.
on
Oh,
this chapter. So somebody needs to go back and
okay. Well, here we go with the review. We'll second time around, right?
okay.
Okay. Chapter 6, question 1, for an AI model in Amazon Bed. Am I reading this right? Yes, for an AI model in Amazon Bedrock, what might happen if you adjust the temperature and top P? And we talked about this a
We
minute ago.
did. We
You,
did.
yeah,
Let's
A, using both will guarantee more accurate responses.
okay.
B, using a combination of these may cause unpredictable or unexpected responses.
Okay.
C, using both will disable the model. Or D, using both will make the responses more deterministic.
Okay, let's get rid of C.
Let's get rid of C. Yeah, they're not going to turn models off because you adjusted temperature
Yeah,
and top E. They're there, so we can get rid of C easily.
exactly. Let's see. So now the rest are just understanding what those
Yeah,
settings are,
you really
right?
have to know what they're available for. Yeah, yeah.
I did get this one right
Okay.
in my I see chapter 6 number 1 was actually correct. But
Okay.
what do you think?
Well, I'm looking at A and D out of the gate because they seem to be the most similar to me. So they're saying like more accurate responses and more
Okay.
deterministic responses. That's kind of almost the same thing to me.
The
Well, kind of,
accurate is very subjective.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is true. That is true.
But again, I do agree with you. I think they're
Yeah,
kind of more similar than not. So
yeah,
they'd be you could choose either and probably feel comfortable if
yeah,
you were thinking one or the other. Oh, okay, that's kind of close, but
yeah.
okay.
But the I guess the key here, real key here, is knowing that temperature and top P are
Yep.
used to increase creativity. So if you say, "Hey, model, be more creative based on temperature and based on top P," you never know what's going to happen. It's
Mhm.
gonna be kind of crazy. So with that, I'm gonna say the answer is B.
Yep.
Let's
I like
see
B.
here. It is B. Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
don't mess around with both of those at the same time unless you know what you're doing.
That's true. You got to ease into it. And you have to
Right?
understand. So I this is a task I'm giving myself to understand those settings. Probably I got to get back in there and just play around and
Hmm.
see where, because there are risky configurations where you play with too many and you're going to get responses like increased randomness or
Yeah.
too many unlikely words or a very broad probability coverage. That means it's just loosey goosey, depending on what those numbers are. Um, yeah. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll
Okay.
have to play around with those.
Yes, indeed. All right, going to the next one.
Number
This
3.
is chapter 6, question 3.
Okay.
What is the role of the modality? And I can't see it because it's under
Filter.
the icon. Thank you.
You're
What is the
welcome.
role of the modality filter in Amazon Bedrock's model catalog?
Yes.
We
We just
just
saw
saw
that.
this in a demo.
Yeah,
Look
we
at that.
did.
A, the filter lets users sort models by license type. B, it
Okay.
filters models based on language support. C, the filter identifies models that support serverless deployment, one of my
Mhm.
favorite things. Or
It is.
D, it categorizes models by input and output types like text, image, audio, and multimodal.
So the question is asking about modality and
Mhm.
filtering modalities. So A feels like we're not talking about license models, although
Yeah.
that is they do mention it in the chapter. They
Yeah, he
talk
did go
about the
through
different
license.
models licensing, closed source, open source, and things like that. That is very important. If you're planning on doing something, maybe, sharing them, whatever. It's in here somewhere, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of overlooking it, but
No, that's
if
fine.
that's important to you, you definitely have to understand the licensing model of the model, the licensing model of the model that you're using. But A
Mhm,
is not a good question because we're only talking about modality right now.
mhm. Yeah. Same thing with B,
Yes,
language support. I believe there's a filter.
there
Um,
is.
yeah, for
I saw
like
it.
the input language or the language that the model can understand. There's a different way to filter based on that. But you have to understand what modality is. Modality doesn't have anything to do with the language um, that you're. I mean, yeah, it's not. It doesn't have to do with the model itself. It's the language
Right.
that you're interacting with the model, the language that you're using to interact with the model. Um, C, it filters or the filter identifies models that support serverless deployment. Um,
I didn't see that in the filter list.
yeah, that isn't in the. There's another part of it, and I think the author touched on it briefly. Um, there's a couple different ways you can deploy a model. One is on demand, which is
Yes,
quote
that
unquote
is
serverless. The
huge.
other one is I forget the name, but
Batch.
basically it's always on, right? But
Oh,
this is not
provisional
the
throughput.
filter.
Sorry.
Yes. But this is not the filter that does that for you. You have to say, hey, this is the way that I want to interact with this model before I even do any of this stuff. Um, all the interaction that I did was on demand, which is serverless by default because you're not managing the infrastructure
That's
behind
true.
it. But this is not the filter that does that. So, which leaves us with D,
D is the
where it
most logical answer.
yes, categorizing models by input, output, and all the things that they can do. And if you really had to guess, and you looked at multimodal and you looked at modality, I'm trying to put a play on sounds here, but modality and multimodal,
Oh yeah.
those look very similar. So if I had no clue what modality was, and if it had to do with licenses, languages, or serverless deployments, I might just go with D as a
Yeah.
guess. And you're not penalized for guessing on this exam. So I
Not
would
at
I
all.
would go with that one. But let's see what the correct answer is. And it is indeed D.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
That was nice. I
Yeah.
love the fact that we dug into both chapters as deeply as we did. There was a lot of
Yes,
good
indeed.
information in there. Like you said, 5 was pretty short, but
Yeah.
it gave us the services,
Yeah.
and 6 was the playground. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
introduced us to these are the first steps. These are some of the first steps you need to think about when you're about to implement AI in your applications. You're going to have to do all these things and decide which model is best for you. So
Mhm.
this feels like the fun part, just getting to
Right.
play around with it. But if you have an idea of what a good response looks like, and that you want that consistency, you have to play around with it until you get exactly what you want. So
Mhm.
that's the human aspect of it, where humans do
Yeah.
have to come in and make sure that things are above board, especially if we're talking about the guardrails. You want to make sure it doesn't go off the rails, it doesn't say anything inappropriate. So the human element has to be in there. So that's why taking this exam is clutch. It's key for anybody who's working in technology right now. So
Mhm. True. Which also leads us to the chapters that we're going to cover
yes.
next time. Chapter 7, a guide to prompt engineering, which is kind of like key to the whole thing. Once you know how everything works, you got to start interfacing with it. And your
Mhm.
primary interface with Gen AI is your prompt. So you got to know how to swing that. And then the chapter 8, a framework for responsible AI, just making sure you're not doing anything crazy or unregulated or something that's going to get
Mhm.
you in a certain kind of way with the law as you use AI. And I mean, keep your customers safe, your clients, and and user safe as well.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at the chapters to see how juicy they are. And yeah, these should be really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Very good. Yeah, and that brings us to the end of this discussion.
We're done.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
On LinkedIn, YouTube, your podcast player,
Wherever you are.
Instagram, WhatsApp, MySpace.
Yes.
I don't care where you are. If you're joining us, shout out to you. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you, Angela, next time. And,
awesome.
And chopping up this book.
I'm into it. I'm so into it. Well, thanks for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for those who like to join our discussion. We appreciate you for rocking with us. And we love the fact that you want to go from cover to code with us. This is definitely, this is fun. I mean, who knew learning could be so much fun? Come on now. We make learning fun. We do.
Right. Cool. All right. We'll see y'all.
All right. Have a good one.